This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 40 of Horsemanship Radio, brought to you by Index Fund Advisors, IFA.com. Horsemanship Radio is a part of the family of the Horse Radio Network. And today we have a legend in endurance riding, Beverly Gray. She's here to share about her horses and her career, which is storied. And we have Marty Irby. He's a member of Friends of Sound Horses, and he's a lifelong horseman. This is Debbie Laux, and you're listening to the Horsemanship Radio. Thanks for joining us. Horsemanship Radio airs on the 1st and the 15th of the month. And today I have my producer, Glenn, with me. How are you,
Debbie?
Glenn? Hi, how's it going?
Good. Everything's great here at the Horse Radio Network, and I assume all is well in California out at the ranch.
All's well. It's May. It's going to be a wonderful May. We've got all kinds of great stuff coming up, but I'm really excited because May means that it starts warming up a little bit, and I go on my ladies' ride to the beach.
Oh, boy, we've been doing the show a while because I remember a couple of ladies' rides.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We lived through a couple of ladies' rides. Yeah. Well, I don't tell you all the details, but this one's pretty fun. I'm surprised. I'll have to think about what we talked about. But the Montaña del Oro is near Morro Bay, California, San Luis Obispo, California, Central California. And it is amazing because they have like this tremendously large beach, maybe like they have on the East Coast, but sometimes the California coasts are kind of craggy and you don't get all that much sand. This one has huge stretch that you can lope on, and it's really cool. And then they have these just switchback kind of trails that can go through grass or up rocks or whatever, all the way up to what they call Nosebleed Trail, which is, as it sounds, way high up there. And, there's even like horse stair steps. It's all built for horses. They have pipe corrals right there. And so a bunch of us
you end up out at Spooner's Cove?
No, it's all girls. So no, that's not fun. But yeah.
That's pretty good.
There is an old church out there. There's an old church out there, and it's in a little cove, and it's like 100-year-old church, which is old out here, and they have a nice little beach ride right there too. People stop and have picnics, and so we ride our horses all the way down through there. And some things pop out at you. It's a great trail ride because we stay in a hotel at night, so we're a little civilized. But the pipe corrals are right there where you can peek out the windows and see the horses, and so that's kind of nice. And we feed and take care of them and everything. So it's almost like being at home, but you don't have to do anything at home. You don't have to. And there's a restaurant right there too. And they've got great margaritas and Mexican food. And so it's just really fun. And it's the greatest way to spend time with, half a dozen ladies.
It does look like the trailheads are well done. You got a lot of amenities at the trailheads. The only reason I know this, by the way.
You're looking at the map or something.
Yeah, I'm looking at Google Maps. And do you know that they actually have street view all the way out to Bluff Trail parking area?
Oh, cool. You can see it right on the website.
Yes,
huh?
You can do the street view. They've done it all the way out to the coast, basically.
Oh, it's really, can you see that stretchy of the dunes there?
Yeah. And then I guess there's almost like a, Irish along the coast there, the ledges, the rock walls there along the coast. That's right. Yeah.
That's right there. Yeah. There's, and it's one of those things where you the dunes get really high before you get to the beach. So you go along this big grassy, windswept plain kind of, and then you start to hear the roar through these little gaps in the big mounds of the sand dunes. And this roar is like, the horses are like, what is that? What is that? And then when you go through the little passes in the sand dunes, it really gets loud. And that's where if you should turn back or you should keep going. But no, if you have some green horses, it's great to go with the older horses, and we mix it up. And then they'll go out there, and once they see it, it's kind of like, wow, this is cool. And they get like us, like kids, they're like, let's go play. And but there's those big globules of seaweed in places too. And they're kind of like, wow, that doesn't smell too good. I'm not sure about that. We'll go way around that. And then of course there's the big birds, the ones that seems like a 15-foot foot's wingspan, that lifts out of the ground, this big white thing. And so it's great for the horses, it's great exposure for them, good for our hearts, a lot of conditioning on the hearts and it's all good ground. It's all meant for horses, really. It's all good footing everywhere, even up in the mountains and everything, really good footing and little streams to cross and little animals and all kinds of fun stuff happens.
Well, I'm actually looking at Google. It's funny you mentioned kids because I'm looking at the Google Street View, and I was just kind of driving down the street past that church.
Yeah.
And there's a whole, what looks like class of middle schoolers that are on field trip, and they're walking along the road, and they're all waving at the Google guy as he's going by with the camera. So it's so funny because they have their faces all blurred out, but they're all waving and giving peace signs at the Google truck.
Peace.
Funny.
Yeah, that's another horse hazard right there.
Yeah.
That's right.
It must be popular for school trips, probably out there.
Maybe so. Yeah, no, it's a really nice part of the country too. It's a pretty area that you can get to, but it's not that easy to get to as far as Central California. It's not LA, it's not San Francisco, so it's right in the middle, and people should see it. It's a great place to trailer in.
Well, it says it's 8,000 acres, so it's a good area, huh?
Yeah, it's huge. It is huge. You really pick your trails by the day. So we stay several days. We'll go Wednesday through, leave on Sunday, because then, what do you want to do today? We get up like we're like kids. It's so much fun. Yeah. With no homework, though. Not a bit.
That's not too far from you guys, is it?
No, it's like an hour and 15 with a trailer, hour and 30. Yeah. It's really fun. See, you got to come.
Really
Glenn,
cool.
Jen, Jamie. Yeah.
Well, and I could ride a Tennessee Walker. You have to find me a Tennessee Walker, okay?
We've got one. Aha. His name is Sancho. No, sorry. He's a Peruvian Paso. I take it back.
Well, that's close enough.
See, there you go. Close enough. And he's been there before. He's really good. He's really good too. So we've got one for you. No excuses. What's your next excuse?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. You guys should get out here. I heard Jamie talking about the Shepherd Ranch and that she wants to go out to the dressage trials and some of the things that are happening in the San Ynez Valley too. So I know you have two reasons
That's
to be.
Right. That's right. Yep. We had Bunny Sexton on the other day. Do you know her?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bunny Shepherd.
She can't be that far from you guys down there.
No, she's not. She's there across the valley. And in fact, I went to school with her sister, older sister, Wendy Shepherd. So she's a little bit older than me. So,
in case people don't know what we're talking about on the morning show, Horses in the Morning, we had eventer Bunny Sexton on, who at the age of 53 just did her first 4-star event at Rolex. Mm-hmm. And it's an amazing story because, who does that at 53 for the first time?
Not too many.
The jumps are really, really big at 4-star level at that cross country there. So, and she runs a couple of events at her farm out near where Monty is.
Mm-hmm. San Ynez Valley. Yeah, the San Ynez Valley. And the San Ynez Valley, you and I have talked about this a lot, but how many different disciplines and at a high level are out there, the trainers that, are just all amazing and across the discipline. So she's just another one that is just a great story out there. We're going to have her on too. She's going to talk a little bit about growing up out there and her influence on the pony clubbers and really reviving.
I was just going to say that. We remember Bunny Sexton when it was so funny because when I first saw she was at Rolex, I went, I know that name from somewhere. And Jennifer said, when I'm the same age as her and we were in Pony Club together, and I think I met her at a Nationals at some point.
Probably.
So they were in Pony Club at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that, but that's true. I know that we do joke about the pony clubs a lot out there because they really revived that. And we used to have races at Flag Is Up Farms, all different kinds of, we had mule races, we had pony clubber races, we had all kinds of, and real races too, thoroughbreds actually. But I have some photos of all of us kids, a bunch of kids from the high schools, the 2 high schools and everything out there giving awards to whatever crazy breed we had racing out there at the time. And the Shepherd family is a big part of that. And I just really admire everything they've done. And they're really hands-on. And they're great mentors to kids too. The kids just love listening to Horses in the Morning. And now we've got them booked on Horsemanship Radio as well. So very incestuous, the whole breed. Here we go.
You don't let them listen to Horses in the Morning, do you?
Of course I do. You better clean up your act.
I apparently said the S word the other morning, and I heard from a whole bunch of listeners right after. I didn't even know. I said it in reference to horse poop. So, it was a good reference.
Oh, that S word.
Yeah, that S word.
Kidding.
I wasn't too far off, I don't think, anyway.
All right. Well, no 12-year-old ever
I had to put money in the swearing pot.
Oh, good. You have one. I like that.
That's what we're going to use for dinner when we come out to the farm there. So
we'll buy you dinner. You just got to put it in the gas tank.
Okay. What do we got coming up, Debbie?
Okay, we have a great day. You're going to hear from an endurance rider that, if you don't know her name, you don't know endurance. She's just a legend in it. And we're going to have a great guy I've known for years and years and years. In fact, I saw Marty Irby win a grand championship myself when I was back in Tennessee, and he was on a Tennessee walking horse, and he's flat shod, and he is a horseman from, I think he's third generation horseman. We'll hear more from him too. So let's get on with this. I want to hear from Beverly Gray.
Right after this word from our title sponsor, Index Fund Advisors, IFA.com.
Hi, I'm Mark Hebner, president of Index Fund Advisors and proud owner of Monty Roberts' Willing Partners graduate, He's a Sugar Bear. Investment portfolios are a lot like horses. You need to find one that best suits you, your temperament, and your stage of life. Some people might like an energetic horse and an aggressive investment portfolio, while others are more comfortable with a gentle ride and a more conservative investment portfolio. The trick is to find the one that's right for you. That's what Index Fund Advisors is all about, matching people with portfolios, risk-appropriate, low-cost, and globally diversified investment portfolios. You can find the right portfolio for you by taking the Risk Capacity Survey at IFA.com. That's IFA as an Index Fund Advisors. Or you can call us toll-free at 888-643-3133. That's 888-643-3133.
Beverly Gray is a professional endurance rider. She's won many awards, not only for her riding, but how she takes care of her horses in this discipline as well. And Beverly has, for over 2 decades, been one of the top in the endurance racing. She has so many accomplishments. You're just going to have to look her up on her website. She has been selected to the United States Equestrian Endurance Team. She was the first USA rider at the 2002 World Equestrian Games in Spain. She was 2004, the Dubai World Cup winner, a team silver winner at the 2003 Pan American Championships, first place and best condition at the Bighorn 100. And 3 weeks later, she finished 9th in the Tevis. It's amazing stuff. Beverly rode the Sultan's Cup as a guest of the King of Malaysia. I think she did that a few times. And recently she raced at the American Endurance Ride Conference National Championship 100, finishing reserve champion. She has, this is it, in summation, she has over 18,500 competition miles, 350 races, and 100 wins. Welcome, Beverly Gray. You're an icon in the endurance field. I'm so proud to have you on our show.
Oh, hi, Debbie. I'm so happy to talk to you. This is so exciting. I love your Horsemanship radio show, and it's like a good book you don't put down.
You're so nice. Well, thank you very much. We have some wonderful horsemen and women, and we've had everything on this show so far this last year, but we're pretty new, and we'd love to put more on here, more content about endurance. So I'm really happy to have someone who's been in the field for a long, long time. I was reading a great story about you, that your first horse, Uinta, am I saying that right? Uinta. Uinta you started off as a ride and tie event. You competed in ride and tie. You want to explain to those newbie listeners like us who don't know what a ride and tie is? Or is it tie and ride? No,
yeah.
ride and tie.
And they're still going on nationwide ride and tie races, which is 2 runners and 1 horse. And Uinta was my very first horse, so we raised her and trained her for ride and tie, where two runners. Everybody starts out at the same time. And, of course, the rider gets ahead of the first runner, gets off at a designated spot, ties up the horse, starts running. The next runner comes along, your teammate, and hops on the horse and ties her up at a leapfrog on a horse.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, leapfrog.
Yeah. And, yeah, I was quite a bit younger.
I was going to say, what year?
Fit.
Yeah. What a fitness routine that is. You're not only conditioning a horse, you're conditioning, holy moly, yourself too. Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole team, and working as a team, one whole team. And everybody plays an important part, especially the horse, because it has to get through the vet checks as well.
Right.
So you can't ride it. There's override it. I'm sorry. There's certain parameters and specifications that you have to get through every vet check, just like an endurance ride. That's what got me into endurance riding, because I was only racing one ride and tie every year, and it's just like, well, I need to do something else with my horse now that I got it so fit.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an endurance ride. Maybe I'll try that. So that's where that came into play, and I've been hooked ever since.
You decided the horse should do more of the work than all that running on your.
Exactly right.
You're smart. You're smart. So is the ride and tie is that sort of a precursor? Is that what people do sometimes, or is ride and tie not as prevalent as it was a few years ago?
Oh no, it's not as prevalent as I think marathon running was as prevalent, which I used to do that too. So it all worked well. It was the type of sport that just worked real well for everything I was training for.
Well, you went into the right thing for sure to stay in the endurance. I was just amazed at your background. What year was the ride and tie races? How far back, or what decade did that go to?
Oh goodness. Oh, Debbie. That's back in the late 70s. Was the first one was in Park City, Utah.
Wow.
And you ran up a ski resort. Yeah, I mean, it started at the bottom of a ski resort, Deer Valley, which is now a ski resort, but it wasn't when we first started doing this race. And that's what you did. You started in the parking lot, basically, and ran up the mountain. And, very rugged
There's
terrain.
no air. You're in Utah right now, right? Is that where you're calling from? Yeah, so there's no air up there. Yeah, that's rare air. That's amazing. So you're training. So does that make it easier if you're training up in Utah? Does it make it easier if you go to the lowlands, if you go to internationally, even where you go closer to the ocean, lower?
Well, you would think so, but there's just too many other parameters that are involved. Run past the horse. That's happened. Where the runner runs past the horse that's tied to a tree that might be hidden behind a tree. Oh. And there they go, run by it. And
no. Is that right? Oh, we should have outtakes on all the things that can go wrong in ride and tie and endurance races. You could do a whole show on that, I suppose.
But all the right things that can go right.
Yeah, good.
Outnumber them, quite frankly.
Yeah, I'm sure. We wouldn't endure. Ha ha ha. So I'd love to talk about, just because this is our first foray, this is your first conversation on Horsemanship Radio, and I love to choose a horse that's just, nearest and dearest to your heart. And I know that there is a great story in the famous Anglo-Arabian of yours named A.A. Omner. Am I saying that right? A.A. Omner?
Correct.
And I introduced the audience that he raced 9,000 out of your 18,500 career miles that you've put in. And what I didn't say is that he became Breyer horse number 1139. And that's an honor. That is an amazing
thing. It is an honor. And it was a limited edition.
Of course.
So, they only made 10,000 of them.
Oh, that's so...
But he's in there with Secretariat, Man of War, Roy Rogers, Trigger. I mean, it's just like, whoo, that's a Hall of Fame corral there.
That is. So tell us about him. Tell us your career. Tell us a little bit about his life with you.
Well, I purchased him as a youngster, and we pretty much learned a lot together. He was quite a handful. I used to say, well, if I throw the saddle and it lands on his back, I guess I go riding. So that's how he was. I needed Monty Roberts in those days.
Oh, thank you. Is that right?
And, so we got together and started doing some endurance riding. He really wasn't successful at riding tied because he wouldn't stop to be tied to a tree. He just kept going.
That's
so
great.
He was not successful in that sport. But as an endurance rider, our horse, he was magnificent. You know, he'd cover fast and go over any terrain that was put in front of him. And, you know, so I got him going as a 5-year-old. But, you know, when he was about 9.5 or almost 10 years old, he just wasn't right at a race, just not happy, not his usual booming self. And he was diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
I took him home and we did all the tests on him, and they were like, well, Beverly, he doesn't have much longer to live. So why don't you just make him comfortable?
Oh, that's, yeah. You don't want to hear
I had
that.
To cry a lot. It was really, really hard.
Second opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we did.
Did you?
And we went through, you know, changed his diet and let him rest. And that was in like September. And by January of that next year, you know, he was beating up all of his pasture buddies. So we were, you know, changed his diet. And
what did you do? Yeah. What did you? Holistic?
Well,
okay.
I didn't. Yeah, it was some holistic, and he had some acupuncture and
supplements. Did you?
All natural products, and kept him out on pasture and let him rest, and that tumor that was on his kidney was the size of a football. And
Yikes.
by the time I came back in January, the same vet just said, wow, put a saddle on that horse and start riding him again because the tumor is almost gone. It's about the size of a walnut. And we did. Yes. And that's when he was 10 years old, and he did his best races, you know, from 10 to 20 years old.
Is that right?
And so I just said to myself, well, here's a message, you know, he doesn't want to give up.
Yeah.
He has a mission.
He's a fighter.
Here. He's a fighter. He doesn't want to give up. He has a mission here. And that's pretty much when, you know, Breyer heard about him, not only his Endurance Hall of Fame, you know, Horse of the Millennium with the Arabian Horse Association. I mean, he had a lot of accolades, but this one was hardest race. It was the hardest race.
But to do better even after that is the most amazing. Yeah. Oh my gosh!
And he was an inspiration, really, to when this Breyer came out and the tag on him, you know, says how, you know, he had a will to live, and he recovered from cancer. You know, he was an inspiration to children with cancer.
Was he? Oh my gosh, that's something too. Yeah.
One little girl took him in to the hospital with her when she was being operated on. So, you know, animals are healers.
Oh, it's true. It's true. Yeah. And he must have known that. I mean, you know, it's funny how they're different with kids sometimes than they are with us adults. So the kids responded well to him as well. You took him into a hospital? Did you say that?
No, one of the children who was going in for a serious cancer operation.
Oh, took in the Breyer?
A model of them. The
Breyer
good.
Model, of course. I was trying to picture that didiaper and those, you know, rubber boots. Or that's a good Arabian.
You know, but I think that they take dogs and little ponies in, and not back then, but maybe nowadays it would work. But I did. When I felt like, you know, I needed to retire him from endurance racing because he still was a horse that would pull your arms out of your sockets. I retired him to near me was the National Ability Center, where children, handicapped children, could get riding lessons, and he really was their inspiration. You know, they all wanted an Omner statue and his inspiration. They all wanted to ride Omner, and he was as gentle as a kitten with those children.
Yeah,
you know?
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, they know. I always say these flight animals just know more about they're more in tune with us than carnivores are. And they do physiologically really help us out too. So you hinted to me that there might be a book coming out about his life. Are we premature in announcing that?
No, it's been put together.
Okay.
And it's a target, young riders, young girls, maybe ages 10 to
54, 55,
14. When you were reading National Velvet and the Black Stallion and
Beverly, I still love those books. I'd have to push it to 50. I think that's terrific. Yeah, no, I mean, there's a bunch of us that don't admit it to anyone outside of our circle, but we love those. We still love all those stories too. And Shy Boy, Dad's Mustang, became a Breyer too, and he is so inspirational to the kids too. And he just knows. You don't even have to put a halter on him. He just follows them around and is good. One thing that we've done with Shy Boy is watch his diet so well too. So I'm really curious because, those Mustangs, they have compromised intestinal systems because of their early life on the Nevada plains. But I'm just curious to drill down a little bit about what you fed A.A. Omner to get, back. Do you have a stable name for him? Did you always call?
No, I just called him Omner.
Omner. Okay. All right. I don't want to say something that sounds odd to you. What did you do? What supplements, what feed, what did you do that was holistic about it? We're all going to be curious.
Well, back in the early days back there, it wasn't so prolific that you could find holistic probiotics or vitamins or anything at your local feed store. I mean, I was just gotten involved with a company up in Idaho. Do you want me to say the name?
It's okay.
Yeah, and it was called Dynamite. And they were very, very, very particular on where they grew their grains and any additives in the soil back then and what kind of products. And it was very synergetic and balanced formula. And I switched them to that. They were going to sponsor me I was going to be on one of the U.S. Pan American teams, and I had to cancel, so I had to call the sponsor, who was one of our team sponsors, saying, Jim, I can't do this. My horse, he's sick, and my vets say he's all going to die. And he goes, oh, no, he's not. Here, let's just switch his diet to this. And it didn't take very long for him to turn around because he had a mission,
Yeah. And he loved you. So who do you,
a very strong horse.
Yeah. And I know that you have another horse that was a national champion best condition, which you're really proud of. That was Jolly Sickle. I have in my notes. Is that right? Yes.
I competed on him for the last 3 years. And I'm just a little scrawny featherweight rider, and best condition is a combination of time and how the horse looks at the finish line and your weight, heavy weight, 280-pound rider should get more points than than a little 120-pound rider with her saddle, so, but we did, and we achieved all that, and diets have changed, but I still use, several of the Dynamite products and Omega Fields, and I think there's just some good depending on the weather, cold, hot. I mean, just a lot of things come into play when you're competing.
Sure. Yeah, I know Omega Fields is one that my mom had supplemented with too, and she was amazed by that too. So, and I know I think you're sponsored by them too. So I'm glad to bring their name up too.
It really is obvious. They love the product. I've never had one horse, one of my competing horses who turned up his nose. to it at all. They love it, engulf it, and it's obvious the results.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they're really good tasting and all natural. I like their philosophies too.
Exactly.
So what's on for this summer? What are you doing coming up, and what can we watch for, and how can we follow you?
Oh, great. Actually, there's a lot of new rides just in my area here, and I've got a new horse coming on, that I just started training. So he gets to ride not in the front right now. He gets to learn and ride in the back and eventually get up to the front. And
well, that's interesting. So you're using those mentors ahead of him to teach him his pace and his behavior. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And what's his
a
name?
A lot of new trails that I've never ridden. I've only been on, big race courses or big name races for so long that I want to do some local races that I've never ridden before.
Oh,
so
fun.
That's how I'm going to introduce this horse to the sport and get him going.
Okay, what's his name so we can follow along a little bit?
His name is Indy.
We have a lot of great riders on this radio show, too, that talk about how you ride your horse makes all the difference, even in weight. You could be a little bit heavier, a little bit lighter, whatever, and get a lot of strength. We saw those jockeys recently, on race horses, too. And the ones that really consistently win ride their horse better than the last guy. So, I watch you in those endurance races, those little videos they have across there. And you don't even look like you're a ripple up there, which is quite the credit to you.
Well, it makes you feel better. I mean, when you get off at the end, whether it's 100 or 250 miles or 25 miles,
wow.
You feel better because you're working with the horse.
Spoken as a true champion, Beverly. I'm really pleased to have you on and let everybody go see for themselves what you do and study up a little bit on endurance riding and maybe get involved. It'd be great. And I'd love to have you back for a trainer's tip too. If you have the time to come back and give us a little bit of your wisdom and willingness to share. Would you do that?
I'd love it. I would love it. Anytime, Debbie, anytime. This has been really, really, really fun to share.
Thank you.
Some of my stories and some of the horses that I love, and I thank them every day for sharing what they teach me.
Thanks for joining us, Beverly Gray, professional endurance rider.
Hi, I'm Monty Roberts, and I'm dedicated to training horses without pain. You can learn to do it too on my Equus Online University. Western, English, the beginner, or the advanced rider. It doesn't matter. You can connect with other students online too, on our forum, and there's a new lesson every week. It's a lifetime of learning for you on my Equus Online University at montyroberts.com.
Well, it was fun to meet her. I've heard about her for a long time, and I've never had an opportunity to chat with her, to hear an interview with her, so it was so good. She is a living legend when it comes to eventing, and her horse, of course, is as well. Well, you can find her website at bevgray, GRAYUSA.com. And, of course, she talked about Omega Fields, and you can find them at omegafields.com, all of their terrific products over there. You have talked to a couple of different riders now that are using Omega Fields for their horses, and they're champions. So there you go.
And they're champions. Is that a theme going on? Yeah, they've got something going on there that's really special. I first knew about this through my mom, and she told me hands down there was just something really special about what's going on with their formulations. And I think, honestly, it's the way they source and grow. So I'm really happy to hear another champion using the same thing my mom is using, and we had Lee and Hallie Hansen on here too. Barrel racers, completely different discipline and training, regimen, and here they are competing at the highest level. And recovery time is just amazing with the Omega Fields.
And I wanted to mention, too, that not only do they have horse products, but they have dog products, chicken products. Do you know that chickens are the fastest growing pet in America?
Pet?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
Yes, there are more chickens. That's the fastest growing one. People are getting chickens because a lot of municipalities are allowing them now.
I see.
So people are getting backyard chickens everywhere. And then also they have people products. So head over to omegafields.com.
Marty Irby began riding Tennessee walking horses at the age of 3, and he showed for the first time at the 1984 Trainers Show in Atlanta, Georgia, aboard Carbon Princess. In 2006, Marty won his first world championship in the English Trail Pleasure Division aboard the Lady of the Ritz. And he's also won seven additional world titles in the Western Trail Pleasure and a full-paid scholarship to the University of South Alabama, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in communication. And Marty is now an advocate for equine protection and a member of Friends of Sound Horses, or we know it as FOSH. Welcome, Marty Irby. First time to Horsemanship Radio. I'm really excited to have you on. How are you?
Great. Thank you, Debbie, so much for having me today. It's so wonderful to be discussing equine issues with you.
Yeah, well, you're a great one. You, as we said in the intro, you have been a lifelong horseman, and pretty much, I think, with Tennessee walking horses your whole life. Is that right?
Absolutely, yes. I did for a few years ride quarter horses and even took hunter-jumper lessons for about 3 weeks, but that didn't last very long. But I love the walking horse and have been so fortunate to know so many great people around the world and work with people like you and your dad. And it's been a blessing in my life.
Thank you very much. That's very nice. Well, I really appreciate you staying in the horse industry your whole life. We lose a lot of really good young men sometimes in this industry. We need more good men in this industry, and love the women, but we need more good men. So I know
Absolutely.
that you're part of FOSH, Friends of Sound Horses, and that really comes from your upbringing and the love of the horses. Tell people who might not know what Friends of Sound Horses is standing for these days.
Oh, yes. Actually, it's headquartered in Missouri. I joined several years ago as a lifetime member, and their mission is basically to help promote the sound horse, horse shows, not only Tennessee walking horses, gaited horses in general, Missouri Foxtrotters, and it's a really good organization.
Yeah, great, and that came out of a willingness to protect. You're an advocate for equine protection, as we said, and that really is a gathering place for all people. What are your roots in the training of horses that gets you to love horses so much? What is it? Was it just, did you go into it for ribbons, or did you go into it because it was a family business? Why did you get into horses?
Well, it was definitely a family thing. My grandfather was a veterinarian in South Alabama and obtained his first Tennessee walking horse in 1955. Someone owed him a vet bill, and he traded the horse for the vet bill. And so my family has been involved ever since. That's actually how my parents met, is through horses. And my great-grandfather, my mother's side, was the sheriff of our county, and he rode several different types of breed of horses, but in the Mardi Gras parades in Mobile, Alabama, and also in a group called the Sheriff's Posse they started that did a lot of the parades in that area. So actually, I grew up in it. I do not ever remember riding for the first time or even learning how to ride. I was so young.
Yeah, that's great. That's most of our family, too. I think there's a lot of generational horse people in that boat, too. And isn't it a great way to grow up?
Oh, yes, it is. And I love the horses, just growing up. Number one, I think they kept me out of a lot of trouble, I'm sure, and wasn't into a lot of the things the other kids were, but just got to know a lot of horse people and go to horse shows, and several of my lifelong friends have all come through the horses, and just, a great thing to be involved with.
Mm-hmm. Now, were your parents kind of like my parents, where you were out there, you were feeding, you were grooming, you were mucking stalls, you were doing it all?
Oh, yes. They first put me on a horse when I was about 3 years old, and I started showing when I was 4. And then growing up, we also did a lot of trail riding. I still trail ride today, but we were cleaning stalls, my brother and I both. Probably somewhere around the age of 9 or 10, I think they gave me a pitchfork, and I was definitely mucking stalls, feeding horses in the mornings before school, so we had to get up very early, and then as soon as school was done, I was headed to the barn. That's what I basically looked forward to all day, each day.
Yeah. And do you remember some of your favorite horses when you were young? Were they all Tennessee walking horses at that young age?
Yes, they were. One horse in particular which was actually the very first horse that I ever started under saddle on my own. And I'm probably was 10 or 12, something like that. Her name was Mark's Nut and Honey, and she was, of course, a flat-shod Tennessee walking horse we showed in Trail Pleasure. And she is still alive today. She's somewhere in her 20s, and a good friend of mine in Mobile, Alabama, still has her and has bred her, and she's had some foals. And her nickname was Prissy, but she was just such a great horse, and she was like a puppy dog to me. And another horse that I had that was very, very fond of was the first horse I ever showed, Carbon Princess. And I was there with her. She had been retired from the show ring. Some people actually out in California had purchased her as a brood mare, and she would not get in foal, so they gave her back to me, and we brought her back to Alabama and let her live out her days. And I was there with her the night she died and just laid in the hallway with her. And she was in her 20s, I believe, when she died as well.
Oh, yeah, that was the Carbon Princess we introduced you with. That's awesome. That was the one that you won the 1984 Trainers Show in Atlanta on, correct?
Well, I didn't win. I was third place, so that's the first time I think I ever showed there. So.
I see. That's right. Great. Well, great. And do you said you do a little trail riding now. Do you get to ride a little bit?
I do. Now I'm actually located in Washington, D.C., so it's hard to get out of the city, but I am fortunate enough to have some good walking horse friends in Maryland and Virginia, and I'm able to go trail riding every few months or so. It's probably been several months, but I'm hoping to go this summer a few times.
Good. Yeah, it's beautiful country out there to ride around in, yeah?
It is so beautiful. And Virginia, until I moved here about a year and a half ago, I'd really never spent much time in this area, but there's a lot of horses in, especially southern Maryland, northern Virginia, and so many places to go and historical places to trail ride, things like that.
Oh, where do you recommend? So for anybody in that part of the world who's hearing this maybe for the first time, where do you recommend that you go out and do some great trail riding in Maryland?
Well, there's several of the parks that they have through the National Park System. I've probably actually ridden more in Virginia. Down in Orange County, Virginia, is a great place to ride. It's probably just about an hour and a half from Washington. And there are a number of places. I tell you what's interesting, a lot of people go trail riding around the areas where the Civil War battles were. Right. And there were so many of them in this area. It's, kind of great to go ride and revisit history and things like that when you're going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I would definitely recommend checking with the Park Service going there. And there are a number of private facilities to go to as well. So.
That'd be cool. So now I want people who haven't experienced riding a Tennessee walking horse, tell me what that feels like when you're picturing yourself out on those trails.
Well, a Tennessee walking horse has a very natural 4-beat gait. And what you want the horse to do is nod their head, shake their head in rhythm with the stride in their back leg. And it's what they call the glide ride, a lot of people say. It's very, very smooth. If you're on a Tennessee walking horse that's performing the gait correctly, you should not be bouncing in any way. There are so many people who have grown up wanting a horse, never had one, retirees a lot of times that are able, because of back problems, things like that, they may not be able to ride other breeds, and a Tennessee walking horse is the horse they end up with.
Yeah, it's smooth as silk. I can't. Yeah. I don't even know how to describe it. Now I've ridden Peruvian Pasos and some of the other gaited horses, Rockies and stuff. Have you been able to get on other gaited to kind of compare with that?
I have. Well, of course, I've ridden a number of spotted saddle horses, racking horses as well. I have actually never ridden a Paso or a Rocky Mountain, but I have an open invitation from a few people.
There you go. Take them up on it. Yeah, you should do that. You should do that. You should do that because I think the future of the walking horse breed is in this, this population of people who really appreciate them. And I want people to get out there and try different breeds too. We kind of tend to get into our little, niche breeds. And I don't know what that is about. No, I only ride Morgans. What are you talking about? Or quarter horses, or you know how we do. But I want people to experience that breed. And I want to hear a little bit through your eyes what that whole, tell me about the mind of the Tennessee walking horse.
Well, they're so calm and gentle and nice to be around.
Now, are you just saying that? Are you saying that because I want you to?
No, they really are. Even the stallions are, and I love all breeds. I love all horses. Yeah. I actually just went to watch the Derby at Pimlico, where the Preakness will be in a few weeks, and I'm going there in a few weeks. So I'm comparing this because you know how hot-blooded thoroughbreds are, and so many people talk about that. Yeah. These horses are just so calm to be around from the time they're born. Even a stallion that is 3 or 4, 5, 6 years old in their prime. Some of them who've even been bred before, they are really calm, easy to deal with, gentle-natured. I had a horse one time, and his name was Lion King, and I think I had him. I bought him as a yearling in 2007. He was a sorrel black mane and tail horse, beautiful horse. We showed in Trail Pleasure, and I had him until he was 3 years old. He was a stallion, and I mean, he literally just played with a ball in the stall. You could put your hand in his mouth. He'd just play with your hand. He'd never bite you, never do anything. He was like a puppy dog.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I was amazed when I went back to Tennessee and saw how many breeding stallions were actually performance horses still too, and not at the highest level even. Not that I'm advocating that everybody run out and keep their horses intact, but for that breed, I think that was an anomaly though. I think it was pretty amazing.
Very true, very true. And I know we enjoyed, I remember, I think we went trail riding while you all were down in Tennessee through the mountains at Waterfall Farms there, and had a good time. And there are a lot of people that can even trail ride stallions. Mm-hmm. And that's, hard to find in other breeds, especially if you have people with stallions, mares, and geldings all on a trail ride together.
Yeah, it is so beautiful there too. That was part of that whole Civil War thing too. Just seeing, little plaques around and where people and out here in California, everything is new. I mean, there just is no history out here other than, look, Junipero Serra founded another mission. That's about it. That's all we have out here. So it's fun to go back east and do the rides out there into the country. And I understand you're going to be heading out our way to California too. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing. I don't know much about your schedule.
Yes, actually, I am judging the Mayfest Horse Show, which is in California, and that's at Brookside Equestrian Facility, May 29th through the 31st. At the end of this month. It's a great show. It's all, sound, natural, flat-shod Tennessee walking horses. I believe they're going to have Missouri Foxtrotters and Pasafinos. I'm just judging the gaited and walking horse classes. They've got open-gated breed classes, Peruvians. They've got pole-bending, cowboy dressage, model classes, Western equitation, dressage, and the list goes on. And there's just so many great uses for walking horses that people can do in the show ring and competition, and in addition to trail riding. So it's really a great show. If you'd like to check out more information on it, you can actually go to ncwha.com. That's the Northern California Walking Horse Association.
Okay, .com. So tell me the name of the town it's in again.
It's in Elk Grove, California, which I believe is somewhere near Sacramento.
Okay, Oak Grove, California.
I've only been to California twice, and both times with Los Angeles. This is my third trip.
Oh, exciting. Okay, good. Well, it might be a little warm out there, but it's May 29 through 31. That's not too bad. And the website is ncwha.com. I hope we get a lot of people out there to see all that amazing work. That sounds great. Thanks again for joining us too, Marty. It was really fun to introductory voyage here on Horsemanship Radio. I hope we get to have you back. I'd love to have you back for a trainer's tip. Some nugget that you got from it. Would you
come back anytime? Yeah.
Awesome. We'll do that, and we'll follow you and follow your advocacy. And glad that you're a Foch advocate, and we'll be rooting for the Tennessee walking horse out there, and a lot of fans.
Well, thank you so much, Debbie. I appreciate the coverage you all are giving to the Tennessee walking horse, and I know I was able to hear Carl Bledsoe's the spots you did with him. And so we just appreciate you doing this for the breed of horse that we all love so much.
You're welcome. It's a great breed. Our trainer's tip today comes from Hannah Campbell in Georgia, USA, and how not to create a cinchy horse. Welcome back, Hannah Campbell Zeplatel. Thanks again for agreeing to come back to our trainer's tip. We have a fine collaboration now of wonderful trainers, but we do not have one from you, and I would love to get, because you work with so many kids and you worked with horses your whole life. I'd love to know what's inside your mind that resonates with people when you teach this and you really know it's a great tip for people.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm so delighted to be back. I have a quick tip for you guys, especially when it comes to saddling. Most of the time I see when people are tacking their horse is they take the girth or the cinch, depending on if you ride Western or English, and they just crank it down as hard as they can, as fast as they can, leap on their horse and ride away into the sunset.
True.
The downside to that is that it does a tremendous amount of damage to your horse's back when you do that. It also can create a buck with a young horse especially. It can also make horses cinchy and sour to the girth. If you see you coming with the saddle and they have their ears pinned out flat. Mm-hmm. I always like to tell people to pretend you're putting your jeans on out of the dryer. They're usually tighter. You don't just zip them up and walk out the door. At least I don't. You end up doing some little squats or some little, pull your leg out and kind of get them loosened up a little bit before you put your belt on and walk out the door. So treat your girth like you would a pair of tight pants. Don't just zip them and walk out the door. You might burst something. So instead, take your time. Do it up in a couple of different stages. Put the saddle on, put the girth on so that it's snug but not tight. Put your bridle on, tighten it up again a little bit more, then walk out to your mounting block or wherever you're going to get on. Tighten up one last time, and then swing aboard. It'll save you and your horse a tremendous amount of anguish over the girth.
That's a great tip, Hannah. I love that, and I love the visual too.
At least I know for me, I need loose jeans. So.
I need loose jeans right away, especially to get on that saddle. You know, that stiff-legged, we haven't stretched the jeans.
Exactly.
I remember growing up, they were so tight that you literally laid on the bed, got a pair of pliers out and zipped. Okay, we're telling stories now.
Exactly, dating ourselves.
Yeah, that is a great tip, though. A lot of people do, you're in a hurry, you're riding 5 horses a day or something, and you grab that, and you just go too quickly on up that scale. Walk them a couple of times around and get them a little used to those jeans. I like that. Thanks.
Exactly.
Thanks for coming on back and giving us our trainer's tip for this week.
You are so very welcome. Thank you for having me.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Where in the world is Monty Roberts?
Monty is looking forward to meeting some new friends, 2-legged and 4-legged, in May. He's going to have the International Conference of Monty's Certified Instructors at Flag Gazette Farms in California. That's the 14th through the 16th. And then jump to June. He's 5 through 7. He's going to have another Horse Sense and Healing, and that's free for combat veterans and first responders that are diagnosed with stress injuries. That's June 5 through 7. And then June 25 through July 1, we have a special Monty's special training. And that's because it has Portuguese translation included in it. So we have all our friends from Portugal and Brazil coming in, and Monty will speak English as well. So also the English speakers can join that. And then we have July 6th through 17. We have a very first time Gentling Wild Horses course, and that's open to all levels at Flag Gazette Farms. July 6 through 17 is Gentling Wild Horses. And then the classic, August 3 through 7. I wait all year long for this, the Monty's special training at Flag Gazette Farms. No Portuguese included on this one. It's a wonderful time, August 3 through 7.
See more at MontyRoberts.com about Monty's calendar, or you can give them a call at 1-805-688-6288. That's 805-688-6288. And for details about today's show, go to horsemanshipradio.com, where you can find the links, photos, and more information about our guests. And as always, we love your feedback. Please follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Monty Roberts, or at Twitter at twitter.com/Monty_Roberts. podcasts. And don't forget, the easiest and simplest way to listen to the Horsemanship Radio Show is on the Horse Radio Network app. iOS or Android, just go to the App Store and search for Horse Radio Network. It's one of 8 different shows that you'll find there.
That's great. And many thanks to our sponsors. And don't forget them. They make us possible. Be sure to visit all the other great shows on the Horse Radio Network at www.horseradionetwork.com. And until next time, have many happy horse hours.